JustinFREAKIN, the formidable voice of the culture.
Hey Justin, are you trolling?
Wow, 帅！
Come on, man.
This is the Troll Patrol, live with JustinFREAKIN.
Well, hey guys, anything crazy happened since the last time I saw you?
Fuck, it's been a wild day already. Welcome to the Troll Patrol Live. Welcome to the Troll Patrol Live. It's a freaking Saturday. Julie, Warlord, RB. Warlord, define what trooping means. And for those of you in the United States, I would just like to point out something that I just found out in our Discord earlier today. Apparently, today is King Charles's birthday. Charles, right? That's what that stupid fuck's name is. King. It's more like King Richard, right? Because he's a dick. Official birthday, he gets 2. Fucking weird. Where's Flash at to put you in your place? Flash, come here and get Warlord. Protests going on nationwide. The No Kings protest, apparently corresponding with the King of England's birthday. We've got impeccable timing here in the United States. Meanwhile, police are telling you not to answer the door if just one lone police officer is knocking. Make sure it is 2 verified police officers. Call the cops if the police show up at your door. Right-wingers running with a narrative that the man who shot 2 lawmakers in Minnesota, manhunt underway for him. They are running with the narrative that he is a Democrat. He was apparently appointed to some sort of business council by Walls at some point in time. Looking at his manifesto, it does not seem like he is a Democrat. Manifesto not exactly being released yet, but we know that he had a hit list of numerous Democrats. He was a pro-life nut job. People have speculated that he did it because of the votes that the 2 lawmakers took. Trooping is to walk somewhere in a large group, usually with one person behind the other. We don't march in line here, Warlord. We're independent thinkers. Does look like the parade getting underway. In Washington, D.C., we're going to take the AP, also have Right Side Broadcasting up. What are you doing, Socks? He's getting old. I feel like he's just wandering into place, kind of like I do. He wanders into place like, why did I come here? Are you okay, Socks? Apparently he doesn't want me to pet him. Let's go to... Whoa!
Come on now.
There's your titty slap for the day. Go to the AP as the parade gets underway in Washington, D.C.
Wanted to do this for years. The Army has been talking about this as its birthday party for years. Give us more of an overview on exactly what it is we are going to see rolling down the streets off the National Mall.
Sure. You're going to see 2 years worth of work as the Army really planned to tell the story of its 250-year history today, and in the last couple of months decided to add a parade, a massive parade where we're going to see 28 Abrams tanks, we're going to see Paladins, we're going to see all sorts of
In the last couple of months decided to add a parade.
Conflicts. And on top of that, we're going to see about 7,000 troops who started to spill into the city in the last couple of days. They're living in federal buildings for on cots, and they're having MREs, and they are thrilled to be here and thrilled to be taking part in this parade.
You, as the senior enlisted leader of a major Army division, are very well versed in the history and what has happened since 1775. I was about to say 1975.
You can see the protesters down in the bottom right hand.
Do you think it's something that has escaped most Americans, the varied history? Everyone knows about the revolution.
People under my camera appear to be
What
there
do
to
you
enjoy
hope
the
today
parade.
What we see
You're
going
seeing the
down
parade. There's
Avenue
the
with
stage.
sky above is going to tell maybe a new generation of Americans?
Well, that's a great question. First and foremost is really showcase the American soldier. We're going to see the transformation of the United States Army. We're going to continue to show the American public how its army, it is the American People's Army, is how it's transformed over time, how we continue to transform and hopefully showcase a little bit of some of the things that is going to take us into 2030 and 2040. But most importantly is the men and women, as we talk about transformation and different platforms you're going to see in helicopters.
Maybe's birthday
It's
is
the American
September
soldier.
or November. I
Yeah,
can't
that
remember which one it
rifle,
was.
that trigger. That's we actually.
Because apparently all our armed forces' birthdays this
And
year.
so much thoughtful planning has gone into how this parade will take place. In the
Fox
initial
News is, well, I'm sorry,
Those
former
are
Fox
troops who are
News
actually walking
personality
across
Pete
Memorial
Hegseth.
Bridge. Some of our armored vehicles are coming across Memorial Bridge. They are going to marry up with Abrams tanks, these 60-ton tanks that they did not want going over Memorial Bridge, but instead have been staged basically by a golf course near the nation's capital for the last couple days. And now they are starting to roll towards the Lincoln, and those two elements are actually going to zipper in to each other to form this long procession that will go up Constitution and go past the president. What does that, the image...
Lost the feed as J.D. Vance was walking out.
Revolutionary War, Battle of Lexington, 1775. We were talking a little bit earlier today.
I am not high enough for this
Older
shit.
than the history of the country at this point. What does it mean to you to see this be celebrated and see the Army's story be told on such a big stage?
You're right, Tara. It's 1 year older than the actual nation itself. It's just an immense amount of pride for serving and and being a member of the United States Army, wearing the cloth of our nation, the sacrifices that we've made since 1775 to present day, conflicts. It's just no better way to showcase and show the amount of pride that we have in our servicemen and women.
You can see on the screen, top left side, the top left of the four boxes, the
I
presidential.
believe Trump is going to be walking out momentarily.
We just heard ruffles and flourishes. That can only mean one thing. The commander-in-chief with Hail to the Chief now playing, stepping onto that stand.
That bottom right-hand corner picture, is that in D.C.?
And to a gun salute.
Yes, ruffles and flourishes.
Or is that outside of the courthouse in
begin
California?
The official start of the parade.
It is not just the 250th birthday of America's Army. It is Flag Day as well. And again, President Trump's 79th birthday. He has much of his cabinet assembled behind it. You see Defense Secretary Pete Hegseth, among others. This is something President...
Now, I'm not saying that this would be a fantastic target
Term.
for Iran
He attended France's Bastille Day parade and
or China or
display down the Champs-Élysées and said,
ISIS
"Out
or
that." That was essentially shot down
Russia.
in his first term due to costs and logistics, but he was determined.
I'm amazed they haven't questioned me about Joni Ernst yet.
There he is, sitting behind.
DJ Dub, welcome in.
You can see some of his kids
Are
behind
you back home already?
Ladies and gentlemen,
as we wait for the actual parade to kick off.
I mean, I know it wasn't that far.
Elements that we're going to see will actually be from the Army's oldest unit, the 3rd Infantry.
What, about a 45-minute trek?
They were established back in 1784. They fought in the War of 18.
Trump has made his way out.
They're nicknamed the Old Guard during the 1846.
The official start of the parade is happening momentarily.
In after the Honor Guard, but let's talk a little bit about what we
Libs don't know how to party.
first unit that will come across.
Apparently, Sparkles is in town.
Active.
I told her if we were going anywhere, I need to be back by now.
Regiment,
She never messaged me.
the Old Guard.
I don't even know that she's in town yet.
At Joint Base Meyer Henderson Hall, they have become the Presidential Guard and really represent everything that the Army is. Very colorful history.
Asked her if she wanted to smoke a bong with me for old times.
And you can see that when you actually see their colors in the 55 campaign streamers that you will see flying.
Poor Lord, I think he might have dementia or something. He's just wandering around.
Playing.
Here, socks.
Listen in and watch.
time to walk around like Biden. This is our national anthem, you fuck. Bow down, you British insolent. I don't know. I'm sorry, Warlord. I didn't mean to say that to you. I mean, if you wanted to, come on. Melania present for this. We have a video package here.
Before we even had a country.
This is Governor Glenn Youngkin of Virginia facing a
and farmers, but they fought
tough re-election. I mean, he's sorry, not re-election. He can't run for re-election.
Concord.
You can only run for one term in Virginia.
Then our Continental Congress chose
Facing a crazy election year
Continental Army
in Virginia.
But it wasn't until 1 year later, on July 4th, 1776, that news arrived of the signing of our Declaration of Independence.
He tried to blackmail one of the Republican candidates.
Nation.
With little gunpowder, no shoes.
I think you can serve more than one term, but I don't think they can be consecutive. So I think he can come back if he wants
started in
to.
December. They went into winter camp in December of 1777. Approximately 2,000 Americans died that winter of disease.
They lived through hell, but they never ever gave up. Not this army, not this first American army.
Finally, Washington and his army arrived here at Yorktown, where they had General Cornwallis,
Yorktown,
powerful British army,
General Cornholio.
to see.
All of the preparation that Washington has learned through the course of those 6.5 years meets its full force here at Yorktown, and he employs it brilliantly.
Sailing from the Caribbean, the French Navy arrived and took on the British fleet.
Washington decided to make his move. Our men began digging to get closer and closer to the fort, finally getting within rifle and cannon range. Naturally, George Washington.
Honestly, I kind of wish we were still part of the crown. Come take us back,
In
Warlord.
front of the main fort. They were called Redoubts 9 and 10.
Then, on the moonless night of October 14th, the American and French forces attacked the redoubts. The hand-to-hand combat with bayonets, knives, and fists was bloody, to say the least. But within an hour, we were victorious.
And as the sun came up the next day,
Well, the funniest thing is, like, we would be a better country if Jefferson and Franklin weren't over in France fucking whores and getting drunk all the
And the
time.
British were forced to surrender.
We were supposed to lose to the best army and the largest and most professional navy in the world.
but our young army had won the war and our freedom. The freedom we hold so dear. And 250 years later, for what started as a ragtag group of shop owners, has now become the most powerful army in the world.
Today, many things are very different from that army here at Yorktown. But one thing
Probably right, Warlord. Don't exactly want to talk about, like, the beating they took in
love for our
Vietnam.
country remains deep in the heart of today's army. When I look into
Oh, probably Gulf War I, too.
that will never change. God bless the United States Army, and God bless the United States of America.
Wow, RB, I didn't know you felt that way about me. Well, fuck you too. Have a good night, RB. Oh, should I kill the music? Do you want to? Yeah, we should be able to hear the. There you go. I'll take the Troll Patrol music off. fucking up. Seriously, they're off the beat, aren't they?
Watching the very early stages of this 250th U.S. Army birthday celebration parade here in Washington. Sergeant Major, give us a sense of what it is that we're seeing here on the screen with soldiers in present-day garb marching with the music as opposed to what we're going to see from the period folks later.
So you're seeing right now is the beginning.
The period folk.
You have the military district Washington commander of troops who typically leads the parade. He's up front with his color guard, carrying the national colors as well as the Army colors.
Here's your troop in the colors, motherfucker.
This will defend, which is the motto of the United States Army.
Avalon, welcome in. I can't complain.
1st Corps, 3rd Corps, 5th Corps, and 18th Airborne Corps.
I'd rather be doing wrestling than this, but you know.
The actual parade, and then we're going to start seeing the first units comprising of the Old Guard covering the Revolutionary War.
Let's watch this early part and soak in what should be a very interesting 90 minutes or so.
What do you think Trump is going to call King Charles later? Be like, my parade was better. Haha. Happy birthday, bitch.
Before the Declaration of Independence was signed, but for now, let's see some of these sites.
Edmund Louis Snitz Gruber, which was a descendant of Franz Gruber, who composed Silent Night. It was originally written to be the 5th Artillery.
Franz Gruber? That sounds German.
In 1956, the lyrics were revised by Harold Arberg as the official song of the U.S. Army, and then retitled The Army Goes Rolling Along. Pershing Zone carries on its century-old legacy, playing a march that brings pride to every soldier. The Army Song.
The Army Song. What an unoriginal name.
The U.S. Army. Established back in 1784.
Get some whip, bitches.
The Old Guard by Major General.
Politically, welcome in.
Victory parade in Mexico City after the Mexican War. It is the
I need your input during this to help me get through it.
And presidential escort, conducting year-round tactical training to ensure the highest standards and utmost discipline of its soldiers. The unit routinely represents the U.S. Army and our nation in official ceremonies, major sporting events, and their own, the U.S. Army's own Twilight Tattoo. The Old Guard also maintains 24-hour vigil of the Tomb of the Unknown.
I'm certainly not high enough for this shit.
Funeral services honoring our fallen heroes in Arlington National Cemetery. The regiment's 50 campaign streamer stand is a testament to its long, faithful service to our nation. Ladies and gentlemen, the 3rd Infantry Regiment, the Old Guard. In 1775, the shot heard round the world at Lexington.
It's kind of cool with the period pieces and shit.
Uniting 13 colonies.
I will admit that. But I thought this was going to rain. They were giving rain, thunderstorms for D.C.
Trenton and Saratoga, survived Valley Forge. And
you like gay things.
British surrender, securing independence and giving birth to the...
Oh, I bet, little bros. It's bizarre for us living here. Welcome in, friend. Where are you from?
Before radios and field phones, sound was the signal. In the Continental Army, fifes and drums carried commands across...
Yeah, but you're using gay as if it's a bad thing. It's Pride Month, bitches.
Even went to rest. That legacy actually lives on today with the U.S. Army Fife and Drum Corps.
From down under. Welcome in, friend.
Known as the Old Guard. Founded back in 1960.
Glad to have you.
The only unit of their kind in the armed forces. Performing in uniforms patterned after those worn by General Washington's musicians. Playing period instruments with patriotic precision, they bring history to life, sharing the sound and spirit of the revolution through more than
1776 holiday.
Both at home and around the world.
They're doing all the different periods of the Army.
Drum Corps, everybody.
Or is it 1777? Because that's technically when the Army started.
The first of the period costumes that we'll see many of in this parade. Thur, Sergeant Major, if you want to tell us what we were just looking at and should be looking at again momentarily.
So some of those first troops that were walking past in the period dress, we saw them holding what looked to be a very long rifle, but it's not a rifle at all. Tell us a little bit about this guy.
Is that?
Yeah, so we see George Washington walking out, leading his troops. Obviously, he.
I don't. What park is that?
Eventually become the First Continental Army. But what you see there is him walking with a smooth bore.
That's over in front of the White House. Is in the distance
from the
there.
rifles we use today. An expert marksman would be able to actually fire at most 3 rounds a minute.
We've got skydivers now, but I thought we were still in the 1700s.
Moment. Looks like we're seeing the first.
We're jumping time periods here.
Parade now.
They didn't have no fucking planes, despite what Trump has
Very
said.
overcast day with storms in the forecast here in Washington.
So what's interesting about that is this was actually supposed to be at the very end of the parade. If these are actually the Golden Knights,
That is them.
They are supposed to be presenting the president a flag.
There's this China.
Finish off the parade.
Skydiving down in to crash the.
An issue all day today, so it looks like they made the decision to have them jump early.
I agree with you. I think it will come down to ceilings and visibility for the aircraft to actually safely deliver them to where they're supposed to land today.
So this award-winning parachute team, they are actually
award-winning. They look like shit.
Lips. I mean.
Like, is that supposed to be making some sort of like a pattern or design or something?
They're that good. That's what they train for every single day, and they actually represent the Army all across the world.
Seeing the first of the Civil War era troops coming out now. Sergeant Major, we have.
Whoa! We skipped a couple wars.
The 4th Infantry at Fort Carson, Colorado. Tell us a little bit about.
Does that dude got blackface on?
So the 4th Infantry Division is actually leading, or is coming right behind them right now. You know, first came into existence in 1917.
Or was that really racist to me?
World War II. We see them and all the way down to the GWAT. We saw them in the highlands of Vietnam.
Sorry.
They were dear to me.
I mean, he looked really black.
The Ivy Division, known as the Ivy
Like
Division.
he was painted on.
That made up the division itself.
So we've seen the Revolutionary War. We've seen the Civil War. Let's pause now and take in some more visuals as the nation celebrates 250 years of the U.S. Army.
I'm sorry.
Soldiers were issued 2 coats. One, a short.
I keep saying racist things. Why am I not famous on Twitch?
That marked their rank. Well,
that's what you had to do to get famous.
Became the soldier's uniform of choice. As the war escalated, volunteer enlistment surged. Congress authorized support for a force of up to 500,000 new troops, answering the call to preserve the Union. As they march by, representing the Civil War era of our nation's history, is the 4th Infantry Division based out of Fort Carson, Colorado.
Oh God, clinically, were you here when we were hearing the song from the band? The drums got off beat. It was so bad. Yeah, Warlord, you were here. You heard it, didn't you? And it's starting to look rather dark. I think the ellipse is the other park in front of the White House there. This is just all
home of legend,
haphazard at this point.
Rides with pride. Born from the thunder of horse cavalry traditions of the
Thunder Horse,
the first team forged its reputation on the front lines of history. They stormed Manila with the flying column, charged into Pyongyang as the first to breach the line and face the brutal crucible of Ia Drang, the first of 13 named campaigns in Vietnam where they proved their mettle.
You guys are so going to get me on a list. As if I haven't done enough things to get me on a list.
Know them by their iconic cap hats, elite soldiers, and cutting-edge...
Look at me getting schooled by little bros from Australia. Appreciate you, my friend.
A lethal, disciplined force that...
President's Park is actually the name of the one in front of the White House.
The legacy...
And then the ellipse. That was the ellipse we were looking at.
1st Cavalry Horse Detachment out of Texas with an interesting...
Thank you, bros. That's what they skipped 1812, didn't they?
Who you just saw on that wagon drawn by mules was Doc Holliday. He's a blue heeler. He's the official scout of the cavalry and has been kind of a celebrity for the last couple of days.
Sponsored by Lockheed Martin. That makes a lot of sense.
And also like Doc Holliday has his own barn. He has a full-time caretaker, and his barn is actually called the Holiday Inn.
Nothing chilling at the Holiday Inn.
It's been an acceptable name for where Doc Holliday should live, but
yeah, it definitely looks like it's getting ready to rain.
Scenes from the National Mall. The rain has not yet started, but is expected to come down rather heavily here in Washington for all those gathered on the mall. The numbers are expected to be quite big with how many people are going to come down and watch, but there is the threat of heavy rain and flooding and thunder and lightning as well, which would then force the National Park Service.
On top of a day of political violence, threats against Texas lawmakers,
cloudy.
2 lawmakers in Minnesota assassinated.
Shrouded Washington Monument.
Or, I mean, 1 assassinated, 1 injured in an attempted assassination. Another person dead, another injured.
War of attrition.
Nathan, welcome in. Libertad.
Barbed wire, poison gas, and mass casualties. The United States initially maintained its neutrality, but was eventually drawn into the conflict in 1917. Despite having less than...
Yeah, they have definitely skipped several wars.
The Army eventually grew to over 4 million, with nearly 2 million soldiers serving in Europe. In 6 months of fighting, nearly 50,000 Americans lost their lives, with another 190,000 wounded.
It is to celebrate 250 years of the Army, but it's the 250th anniversary of the Navy and the Marines. And they were not having this sort of affair for either of them. Just the one that happens to fall on Trump's birthday. So happy birthday, Mr. President, by the way.
We continue on with more USA.
Oh, happy birthday, King Charles, as well.
1918 Dodge touring car was part of the legendary 1919 Transcontinental Convoy. 3,251 miles and 62 grueling days across the Lincoln Highway. Now remember, no pavement, no GPS, and no power steering. Just grit, determination, and the drive to push Army mobility.
Sergeant Slaughter over here.
This car literally helped pave the way for the roads we rely on today and reminds us when the Army moves, the nation follows. The 1918 Dodge touring car.
You look like you could roast him like a pig. It would be tasty.
Headquartered in New York, this is the 42nd Infantry Division Band. At the start of World War I, the 42nd Infantry Division was formed with troops from 27 National Guard units, stretching across the country like a rainbow.
Gary, welcome in.
Composed of skilled musicians from all walks of life and professional.
We're on the same wavelength, bros. I'm glad to have you here.
Though their mission is primarily a musical one, the members were ordered into active federal service.
The usual stream, we do a rundown of the news. I try to do
3
world news as well, but it's specifically a focus on U.S. news.
Cleanup efforts following hurricanes.
Politics and crime. Oh, fuck.
COVID-19 and recently.
Fuck you, Holiday.
Corrections. Commanded by.
Love you, my friend. Glad to have you here.
And led by Drum Major Sergeant First Class Drew Gans, the band is performing Over There, written in 19.
Over There.
Composer and recipient of the Congressional Gold Medal, George M. Cohan.
I think that sign says 420. I think we should smoke, but I need more. I'm actually drinking Arnold Palmer. I'm having lemonade with tea.
You'll notice the unit is wearing replica World War I uniforms signifying the soldiers who served our nation during this time.
World War I is the most fascinating war to me.
Our soldiers, under the command of General
I've always wanted like a really good World War I video game. Or a good story set during World War I. Everybody focuses on World War II.
Textured paint built to deflect deadly shrapnel from above. Not bulletproof, but battle tough. Nicknamed the Pershing boot, on their feet was the M918, 1918 French boot. It was designed to survive the brutal grind of trench warfare. And on their backs, the field pack, rations, ammo, first aid, and a gas mask. Everything a doughboy needed to fight and to win. Incidentally, the 42nd Infantry Division was deployed to heavy combat abroad and then deployed again in World War II, ultimately liberating the Dachau concentration camp. The 42nd responded.
I would assume they have those uniforms. They do.
The rainbow stretched across the world again, deploying in Iraq and Afghanistan.
Fucking recreations and shit like that all the time.
Thundering into view.
But yeah, this shit is a cost that we didn't need. Like you wanted to cut waste, fraud, and abuse from the
power and heritage
from the fucking government. You guys see how much
honors the legacy
Trump has made from his ventures and his meme coin,
discipline, and 6 majestic
shit since taking office. Ah, fuck.
18 caisson. The half section keeps tradition alive and rolling strong, representing the power, pride, and precision of America's field artillery. This is Fort Sill's finest, ladies and gentlemen.
Oh, it's probably going to be over 50 million. Everything, like, this is just completely bloated.
To our sponsor, Form Energy. World War II, a global fight for freedom. In history's darkest hour, the United States Army was on the front lines. From the beaches of Normandy to the islands of the Pacific, the greatest generation faced down tyranny and turned the tide.
Because they're literally the people that make this, the defense contractors, they're literally the people that make this happen.
From bombers to
I joined late. What do you mean?
U.S. Army aircraft started to thunder across the skies in World War II. And take a look up there, ladies and gentlemen. Flying overhead right now. They are fast, they are fierce, and famously used in the Doolittle raid over
Holiday, totally
the mighty
in that.
Mitchell.
You guys you're gonna get the feds on me. Which I'm not saying it's a bad thing. Hey, feds, if you come visit me, like, I'm probably going to contact local news.
We just saw some aircraft.
Be like, the Trump administration's violating my First Amendment rights.
We just saw two people.
And then, try to get publicity off of it. So please come investigate me.
The P-51.
Ask me about Senator Joni Ernst.
The U.S. Army Air Forces.
And my crush.
In escorting bombers safely to target. And the B-25 Mitchell, of course, was made famous by the Doolittle.
I mean, what are they going to say? I'm always extremely nice to her.
Bomber down to
I'm always complimenting her.
Launch it off of the Hornet to strike on Tokyo.
That's amazing.
Command Sergeant Major, this
feds harass local stoners.
Jeep era for the military, a vehicle that's so intertwined with.
I don't know. One of you in the chat has brought up me running for office.
Quarter-ton Jeep.
And I've actually started thinking about it, and I'm like, wow, I could actually run on
vehicles after
weed in my state is being held up. Like, it's not quite legal, but I mean, it's legal. It's legal to possess, but it's not legal to sell yet.
Not quite the same.
So when I go buy it, I'm actually buying a sticker, and they share weed with me. It's like a loophole to get around it, right?
Rag.
And it's because the governor has held up. It was supposed to be commercially available like 2 years ago.
You're more than 20 years serving.
And they've held it up because we have a Republican governor now.
About these two stories.
So
second and the 100.
I thought about it. I was like, it's a great thing for me to run on.
Normandy.
But I looked up. I looked up the congressional district, and the Democrat got fucking slaughtered.
Seizing several towns.
I mean, it was like
was the main one.
A landslide towards the Republicans. So if I was to do it, I'd have to run as like a libertarian in the Republican Party.
Terrain that could actually destroy anyone coming into Omaha and Utah Beach. 100-foot cliffs.
Oh, it looks like it might be starting to rain.
We're tasked with one of the hardest missions of the invasion, and they managed to get to the top. Now, 90 were able to continue to fight, but it was a critical battle in seizing Normandy Beach.
So only 90 made it of the 225 that scaled those cliffs?
And that is correct.
Wow.
Trump over here looking like a big dumb goof.
Known for their bravery on D-Day, when 12,000 parachute and glider troops destroyed German supply lines after fighting for 33 days.
I hope it just pours suddenly, like right before they get to the end. There's supposed to be fireworks at the end. Now, if I remember correctly, this was actually supposed to start at 6:30. So you may have seen it be moved up in order to try to avoid the weather.
Known for their ability to rapidly deploy across the world, the unit has held.
So it is a thunderstorm warning
behind enemy lines on D-Day to leading helicopter assaults in Vietnam. The 101st redefined modern warfare. In the 50s, the Screaming Eagles stood tall and
I think they're under flood warnings and everything
during the fight for civil rights. In recent decades, they've been sent across the world with stints as far as the Middle East, where they took part in Operation Desert Storm and participated extensively in the war on terrorism in Iraq and Afghanistan.
Libertad.
Eagles continue to lead the way as tomorrow.
Good to see you.
In today's Army.
Seeing some vintage World War II armor now riding along Constitution Avenue. Sergeant Major, tell us what we're seeing.
Yes, sir. We're looking at the Sherman tanks right now, and they were extremely useful against German, much bigger tanks. They are
very ugly.
Maneuverable.
Look at the heads peeking out the front.
And they
yeah, these people are having the time of their life, it looks like.
Armor formations.
More than 50,000 of them were produced in the war.
Perhaps the best known of the tanks the Army has produced for a long, long time until that M1 Abrams that we'll be seeing.
We'll be seeing that one a little bit
later. And I can see that smile in your face when we mentioned the Abrams. World War II being celebrated on Constitution.
Yeah, good against fascists, ironically.
The remembrance of the Korean War coming up next.
The Korean War. Also, not exactly a good war for us. My grandfather was a Korean War vet. Lenny, welcome in.
The U.S. Army Transportation Corps motto states, "Nothing happens until something moves." That was never more true than with this. Look at this, the 2.5-ton Chevrolet Deuce and a Half. 10,000 pounds of
Deuce and a Half.
The Red Ball Express that kept the Allies supplied after D-Day in World War II.
Bros, I do believe you are correct. It was the Army that was occupying Abu Ghraib. War Machine, welcome in. I'm sorry, on a day like today, I should punctuate anti-War Machine. Warlord, you should adopt an anti-warlord. Solidarity with the peace movement.
The Korean War, often referred to as the Forgotten War, began on June 25th, 1950.
Anonymously, good evening. I'm sorry.
Invasion of South Korea. A coalition of South Korea, the United States, and other United Nations members defeated the...
I did not feel good last
night. Into North Korea. The coalition fought and defeated 2 Chinese offensives in the spring of 1951. Armistice negotiations began shortly after that defeat in July of 1951 until the armistice was signed 2 years later in 1953. Combat consisted of small attacks, raids, and patrolling. During this war, the United States deployed approximately 6.8 million military forces to the Korean Peninsula.
Oh, I appreciate that. Warren Bet, welcome in. Truly a display of American patriotism.
Special thanks to our sponsor, Coinbase.
Coinbase. Is that the thing where you take your pennies to? Like a Kroger? The dude's got a nice beard. Or is it some kind of crypto thing?
The M151.
Okay, yeah, screw it then.
The lightweight, high-mobility, general-purpose vehicle replacing the famed World War II Jeep back in 1961. Officially named the military utility,
Ricardo Sanchez doesn't sound like a real name.
Referred to it as.
That sounds like a porn star.
Spanned more than 40 years in 4 manufacturers.
He's the inventor of the hot Sanchez. Old Dick Sanchez over here. I wouldn't even know what to do with crypto if I had any.
2.5 tons, this Deuce.
That's DJ Dub, probably.
5A2 classic military transport truck was a mainstay of the U.S. Army for decades, particularly during the Vietnam War and Operation Iraqi Freedom. The Deuce and a Half proved its value.
Deuce and a half.
And soldiers. Its capabilities include.
If you take a deuce and a half, be sure to wash your ass.
Pounds on road, making it ideal for moving just about anything. In the jungles of Vietnam, the U.S. Army faced a new kind of war. Helicopters became the new.
They're getting chased by Raiden back there.
Troops, firepower, and supplies into some of the most.
Did you guys see that?
Rain on Earth. This is the U.S. Army.
Shoot some lightning at them.
The era of air mobility, fierce firefights, and unwavering brotherhood. And over the music marching through.
These are the helicopters that dropped the Agent Orange
to the air. Flying overhead right now, they help define the Vietnam War. That staccato beat of the rotor blades.
These are the very helicopters
mired in combat. From transport and medevac to close air support.
Gave so many of our Vietnam vets
fight to the front.
Breathing problems.
To safety. The OH-6 Cayuse scouted the terrain with unmatched agility. The AH-1 Cobra, also nicknamed the Snake, brought serious firepower. Its slim design, as you can see here, helped it survive and thrive in hostile.
It would be wild if 2 helicopters collided.
And the icon of the era, the Huey, the first.
It started raining.
Helicopter in service with the U.S. military. There was nothing the Huey couldn't do. General support, air assault, cargo transport, medic evacuation, and ground attack missions. The Cayuse Cobra.
Oh yeah, that's why the chat was wanting Fortunate Son.
Symbols in the sky.
Because it's an anti-war song. It ain't me. It ain't me.
The 1st Cavalry Division Band, based out of Fort Cavazos, Texas, has played a vital role in U.S. military history. Since its origins back in 1855 as the band of the 2nd Cavalry, it has supported operations from the Civil War to Desert Storm. Over time, it's evolved into a powerful force using music to strengthen bonds between soldiers and engage with communities. From World War II in Korea to the Vietnam War in Bosnia, the first team.
Oh, and ignore Warlord.
Morale.
He's the main mod over here, but
today,
he just wants to watch the world burn. He just wants to instigate shit.
Perceptions, foster trust, and promote national army and division.
I know you actually believe the things you say. I know you're not trolling.
Cavalry division,
but also
to duty. The band performs, Ride on March, composed by Captain Robert Meredith Wilson. This piece reflects the cavalry's transition from horses to mechanized warfare, capturing the speed, the resilience, and the tradition of the division. From Fort Cavazos, Texas, everybody, the 1st Cavalry Division Band.
Trump is really excited, isn't he?
The U.S. Army deployed.
I know he's wanted this for fucking years.
The first contingent of U.S. Army advisors arrived in Vietnam in the late 1950s, and that quickly grew to a small.
Like a 6-year-old.
100 soldiers, which then expanded to more than 600 over the next decade.
Yeah, melanoma is right beside him.
Quickly grew.
Oregon gal.
The South Vietnam.
Welcome in.
And the communist insurgents, supported by North Vietnam, intensified. By January 1969, more than 364,200 soldiers organized around 7 divisions and 20 separate combat brigades. The United States began withdrawing its...
Oh, he's not speaking to Elon anymore. He doesn't want to speak to Elon.
The last Army combat unit left South Vietnam in August of '71. The last U.S. combat soldier came home March...
Let me see you do the Jane Fonda.
A small number of non-combat personnel remained until April 1975.
Once again, the forecast is for thunderstorms.
Era is the 100
any minute.
Division based out of Fort Campbell, Kentucky.
War Machine gets a titty slap.
Vietnam War uniforms signifying the soldiers who served our nation during this time. Blistering heat, thick humidity, and unforgiving terrain demanded uniform innovation. And the Army?
And a booty slap for Jane Fonda.
Lightweight uniforms were constructed to move with the soldier. The M16 replaced the M1 Garand, calling for redesigned ammo gear and faster reloads in combat. Body armor got smarter, jackets and trousers got lighter, and field equipment...
Trousers got lighter.
Meet the mission head on. Gone were the heavy...
Is that a euphemism for having a boner?
Tropical combat boots that offered better grip, faster drying, and all-day endurance.
Seriously, bros, I thought about that this morning. Mr. Draft Dodger at the military parade.
Special thanks to our sponsor, Oracle.
I think their thing is supposed to be, they're supposed to be somber. I don't think they're supposed to be smiling. But the people on the tanks and shit, they totally look like they were having a good time. The Gulf War. This is the first one I can really remember.
Hussein's Iraq invaded Kuwait in August 19.
Yes, we've got several sponsors like Lockheed Martin, Oracle, which makes perfect sense.
Region for what was known as Operation Desert Shield.
Oregon Gal, thank you for throwing out the gift sub.
50,000 troops comprising U.S. service members and coalition partners from more than 30 countries had assembled in the Saudi Arabian desert. In mid-January 1991, the U.S.-led coalition began...
Anti-War Machine, thank you for throwing out the contest for the mug. Anonymously said he's already got his mug. Have you gotten yours?
The ground offensive was launched in early 1991, where military forces overwhelmingly destroyed enemy tanks and vehicles. After only 100 hours of ground combat, coalition troops liberated Kuwait, and the Gulf War ended with Iraq's surrender.
Meat Gigs, welcome in.
From Fort Riley, Kansas, this is the 1st Infantry Division, one of the Army's most storied divisions. Nicknamed the Big Red One because of the distinct
Kelly, at Queen Bay's, Lockheed Martin, we've had several other
continuously serving division.
Stupid fucking
the unit has
sponsors.
Every major operation since World War I, living up to its motto, no mission too difficult, no sacrifice too great, duty first. The
said duty. If you're taking a duty, be sure to wash your ass.
Division in 1917 and spearheaded the American Expeditionary Forces in France during World War I. In World War II, the Fighting First stormed Omaha Beach on D-Day and liberated Nazi concentration camps. The highly decorated unit has had 37 members of the Big Red One awarded the Medal of Honor. In Washington, D.C., the 1st Division Monument stands in President's Park, memorializing those who died while serving in the 1st Infantry Division. Ladies and gentlemen, they are the Big Red One, the 1st Infantry Division. More military rolling stock. During Operation Desert Storm, the M2 Bradley fighting vehicle proved its value on the battle.
That fucking sucks, War Machine. I hate it when I fuck up my financials, which is pretty often.
Bradley, a leader from West Point's famed class of 1960.
I'm not good at money management.
To carry troops into combat with protection and power. Armed with a 25mm chain-driven cannon and twin-tube launched wire-guided missiles, it played
but like I think the rain has probably kept a lot of people out. But there's a couple thousand probably.
Self-propelled howitzer that was first introduced.
A dog with a boner, indeed. Red Rocket.
It's been upgraded to perform in versatile battlefields from Vietnam.
Light one up, tip one back.
To Iraq.
will tell you that my PayPal card always declines. And that's why I usually, like my PayPal is connected to my bank account, but I usually try to use my PayPal for everything. That way it auto declines. I don't get any, overdrafts that way. So all my shit that is, especially shit that's like a subscription, I got that all hooked up to my PayPal debit card. Or get you a chime or something that's hooked up to something. I don't know if it has fees or anything. Dana White in attendance. Well, you want to watch the Pride Parade from last weekend? We watched part of it on stream the other night.
The armor here.
Sure. Let me know when
it is seemingly sprinkling on the cameras. It has been for 10, 15, 20 minutes possibly.
Play such a key role in that essentially 100
So
hour.
I expect it to just fucking downpour anytime.
Just seen.
There you see Marco Rubio, the Secretary of State, next to Linda McMahon.
2 rows. Can only imagine what it feels like on the pavement out there.
Annette Rubio next to Marco. Little Marco.
It was really the first kind of major tank battle for the Abrams. Talk to me a little bit about the 70.
I also have protests up. We have LA Live.
Led by a young captain, then H.R. McMaster. And they were vastly outnumbered by Iraqi tanks and managed to...
I'm sure all the major cities are popping up.
It's one of the fastest wars.
The Army has estimated between 25 and 45
fast,
million.
reliable, lethal.
I don't believe that number. I wouldn't doubt that it balloons over 50, 60 million.
Operated, by four. It's a 4-man crew right now, and is renowned for its 120 millimeter cannon. It also has a 50 caliber machine gun that's mounted, as well as a 240 millimeter machine gun.
They apparently wouldn't let
where it goes, and I've had
the tanks go over the bridge
on the range because one of my
they have
brigades had one, and then I tell you,
steel plate
sight to actually see them rolling down the street right now.
What does it feel
located
like
at the it looks like it's raining in the distance there.
Surprisingly, Betty, steady.
But that could just be haze.
Anything else? You have these helmets to protect your hearing, but the gunners, and it's just the crew drill that happens inside there, and the communication has to be locked in step for that gun to actually be as accurate as it can be, as it identifies the enemy. It is great.
And once again, this is capping off a day of political violence in this country.
Of different types, and I was just
who knows what else
we could talk just briefly about
could happen tonight going on into the protests.
Artillery.
So we saw a couple different artillery pieces. The first one we saw was a Paladin. It looked like a tank. It sounds like a tank. It has the
one lawmaker in Minnesota fighting for their life. Another one assassinated earlier this morning.
Equivalent to that.
Someone posing as a cop. And the scariest part about this is that the right-wing media
105s, and those are
put out his name and called him a Democrat almost immediately.
Combat brigades.
And as we learn more and more information, he absolutely seems to be a far-right nut job.
Range, multiple different types of rounds.
He had a list of people that he wanted to assassinate that were all Democrats,
about the
anti-abortion advocates. That seemed to be his focus.
About what sort of damage these tanks
you
would
see
do to DC's
Kristi Noem. You can see
$3 million.
Senator Joni Ernst. She doesn't look happy.
Had soldiers at Fort Cavazos taken
but does
tank
still look
50 times to make sure the road was going to be okay. That's
attractive, and she could be my GOP mommy.
I mean, we want to display, we want to showcase our tanks, we want to show the American soldier, but we were very cognizant of what could happen. I think we went to great lengths to actually ensure that we are protecting the cities of Washington, D.C.
It is hot and humid. Like my hair is fuzzy and shit. I'm not going to hold it against her. She's out in a swamp. Yeah, she can be my GOP grandmommy. I did the other night, Lenny. Were you not here for that? I thought you were. I can't call too often. That would be a little, unhinged. I probably should call and say I saw her at the Army parade, but she didn't look as good as she did the congressional baseball game.
Desert Storm, the M119 howitzer brought precision firepower to the front lines. Lighter and more mobile than larger.
Fair enough, clinically.
It was built for the infantry brigade, able to fire high.
I am a character.
Directly at the target, depending on the mission. Whether used in battery formation or as a standalone support weapon, the M119 delivered reliable, responsible fire when it mattered most. Still in service today, including on the front lines in Ukraine, it remains a trusted part of the Army's arsenal.
Has everyone seen the picture of the shooter with the mask on? It's unnerving. It looks like something out of a horror movie. Manhunt still underway. That's probably what we're going to be watching after the parade. Any coverage of manhunt going on in Minnesota.
Thanks to our sponsor, UFC.
UFC. Combo Weasel. Did anybody catch the name of it? I didn't. They announced it like just a minute ago. That's the Vance. But is this, we're past Desert Storm now, right? We're in... We're in the War on Terror. Yeah, I'm barely paying attention to what's going on. I'm sorry.
On September 11th, 2001.
Truth is the light. Welcome in.
Trade Center in New York City and struck the Pentagon in Washington, D.C. using commercial airliners. In response, the U.S. launched the global war on terrorism. The U.S. would stop potential...
They're not going to actually call it like Iraq or Afghanistan. They'll just call it the war on terror because, like, we won that. We got Osama.
Afghanistan to destroy Osama bin Laden's al-Qaeda terrorist organization and depose his sponsors, the ruling Taliban. The 2003 President Bush expanded the war to Iraq. Soldiers and other armed services overthrew Iraq's dictator Saddam Hussein.
Bush isn't there, I'm sure.
Iraq and prevent terrorist groups from overthrowing its new government continues to this day. The campaign in Afghanistan lasted until 2021 when U.S. forces withdrew and the Taliban returned to power. Over the course of the two-decade conflict...
Well, hey, they told it like it was.
1% of the American population deployed in support of the global...
I figured they would just say, you know, we got Osama bin Laden.
The United States Army.
Yada, yada. And then out of nowhere, we get Heart. And I'm kind of doubting Heart would agree with using their song. I gotta take that down. That'll get me copyright. I want my money. Fantastic Live. They're just playing the riff over and over again. Like it's never actually kicking into the song. It's just the... And then that's the guitar solo. I don't think this is Hard. I think it's like some karaoke version or some shit. I have no idea what's going on. Let the bodies hit the floor. Yeah, that's the time period we're in. Drowning Pool will probably be all for it. Is the tank called the Barracuda or something? Look how enthused everybody is. Oh yeah, pay Metallica. They're totally into it. Are you talking about the Washington Monument, Truth? Because that's not an obelisk, is it? Does that actually... Hold on, I'm not exactly sure what makes something an obelisk. A tall, four-sided, tapering monument. Okay, yeah, that's an obelisk. Ends in a pyramid-like... Oh, it totally is. It's a phallic symbol. Also, am I saying it right? Obelisk. I'm a hillbilly, so that's why I went with the long O. Obelisk. Yes, Nathan, we did music request night the other night, and somebody requested that. The torturing James Hetfield. Agreed, bros. But I'd say that's also probably a big reason why you see so many with South Asian heritage, because a lot of vets knocked up women in South Asia and had, family. Some of them came to the U.S. They're from a military family and shit. They're still playing Barracuda. Look at that dumb fuck. Like he's Santa in a parade. Oh God, it's generic Led Zeppelin. In the days of my youth, I was told what it means to be a man. Sorry, I fucked it up really bad.
Global war on terrorism saw the introduction.
We are looking now.
Now I've reached that age.
On terror.
Do something the best I can.
The Gulf War, which ended, of course, in 1991. It was 10 years later that the U.S. was attacked on 9/11, and that set off 2+ days.
What are we? Good times, bad times. It just dawned on me the song it was, even though I was singing the lyrics.
Developments, a lot of different hardware.
Yeah. The military's been through some good times, bad times.
Iraq and Afghanistan, and
my woman left home.
Firsthand about that.
Yeah, that's a good army song right there.
Tell
yeah.
us a little bit about some of that hardware.
Woman left you for somebody else.
So what we're looking at right now, we're looking at a Striker vehicle. It's an 8-wheel, lightly armored vehicle. It has a crew of 3.
Excellent pick.
And
Excellent
it will
pick.
carry up to 11 soldiers in its back, with fully combat load. There's so many different variations to this vehicle. You have, we're seeing a few of them right now. You have a...
It is a fantastic drum song. Like John Bonham really shines on that one.
Inside of it, you can actually use it as a medevac vehicle as well. And there's different variants that allow commanders to actually communicate.
What's that on, Led Zeppelin 3?
We've seen soldiers from the 10th Mountain Division taking part in this part of the raid.
It's on 1, isn't it? Fuck, I don't remember.
Upstate New York at Fort Drum, more than 20 deployments.
I really cared about Led Zeppelin when I was, a preteen.
Over the years.
And what we haven't seen so far,
they blew my fucking
War
mind.
on Terror and
They've moved on
the
since.
modern era, which I think these two sections are kind of blending into as we go into the final kind of 2 decades to present day, is a massive air parade of all of the Army's air assets, starting with the 160th Special Air Operations Command.
You still play French Horn? You say it in a past
Talk to me
tense.
a little bit about their role in the days literally right after September 11th attacks and what they were able to accomplish by getting our soldiers into Afghanistan.
No, absolutely. I was very fortunate enough to actually train with the Night Stalkers, incredible pilots.
Yeah, I think it may be the first song on
Aircraft on
one.
display today, the Little Bird.
My mom made me play saxophone because my brother played. Like, he got to pick his instrument, and we had a saxophone. So mom made me play saxophone. I want to play drums.
In some pretty tough places, and you can always count
I
on
already
Night
played
Stalkers
piano.
to always find the X and always put you in the right spot.
Like, you could join band when you got to 5th grade. I've been taking piano lessons
So
since I
we're
was in
hoping
like
to see
2nd grade.
a weather decision that was made, but hopefully we can still see him flying today.
Yeah, I would have picked like the clarinet or the drums.
Helicopters flying directly over these troops, but weather's been an issue all day long today, and the ceiling, you see that those
French horn is cool. I don't remember anybody playing French horn in our band.
the reason why we're not seeing them right now.
I think we had like one person that played tuba.
You know, they had a role in dropping off the horse soldiers.
A whole bunch of trumpets.
Tell us a little bit about that mission and what happened there.
It's. I will tell you. When I say that you can bring them in at any time, anywhere, we found ourselves in some bad valleys there when we actually had them come in with no other formation.
That's awesome to know. Yeah, I don't think there was a dude that played clarinet or flute at my
risking themselves,
my
risking
school.
the aircraft, which is significant in how much some of those airframes cost to actually.
Bass is cool. That's a cool instrument, me case. Do you still play?
Take us off to the next objective. They're incredible. I mean, I'm at a loss for words of some of the things that I've managed to see those people do with those helicopters.
Oh, I'm sorry. We're not actually covering the
We're
parade.
looking at now.
My apologies.
We're still seeing some Strikers right now. I'm trying to see what kind of variant this is. Hopefully they'll zoom out here in a second.
The COVID variant.
We're still seeing some of the regular Strikers. So you'll see this Striker.
Now, War Machine.
You have
when I was in college, like 2009, 2010, like the biggest band in our area was a ska band.
On top as well. You have
they were like a 16-piece.
Mounted on top,
and they totally had maybe 2 French horn players.
That can be mounted there as well. And what we're seeing right now is still Strikers with a 50 cal. That will.
Hey, Senator Joni, here, looking a lot better. She's fixed herself up.
And the camera
looking very hot now, and absolutely could be my GOP mommy.
One of the things we hadn't said about the Abrams tanks before is that while they were crawling along at maybe 3 miles an hour, those things can actually haul. How fast can they go?
Gosh, I want to say close to 42 miles an hour, if I'm not mistaken. You got to look at my map. Maybe you know the better answer.
Pretty sure no one was going to allow them to go 42 miles an hour at Constitution
not at all.
today.
Not at all. Not today.
So we have gone through the wars of the U.S. Army history, from the Revolution through the Civil War, both
So we're done with the period pieces, which I thought were kind of cool.
The Gulf War, global war on terror, so encompassing both Iraq and Afghanistan. What we'll be seeing next is what they're calling the modern day part of the parade. It is all the hardware, all the aviation that the Army is counting on for any near-term conflict with an adversary. So we'll see the armor, we'll see the artillery, we'll
By
see.
the way, we got reporting that Israel did the thing that Ukraine did and snuck drones into Iran.
Heard a lot about over the last,
as part of their attack
because of Ukraine, Thur.
That is that high mobility rocket.
I saw a lot of right-wingers sharing out pictures of penthouses from Iran that
against Russia's invasion that started in 2022.
That Israel hit.
Our system is.
And they were like, look at the lavish lifestyle the politicians in Iran were living in. I was like, wait till these motherfuckers hear about Donald Trump and his billionaire cabinet.
Fire and move and get it out of the way. you talk a little bit about what we've been able to do for Ukraine with this system?
Absolutely.
Yeah, this is really depressing.
Is that interoperability that we have in training them to actually be able to defend themselves. That has been a critical weapon system.
DJ Dub, you said the protests,
their ability to fire and move
at your state capital were depressing.
As you know, they've had many casualties due to artillery and the massive artillery that they receive. This allows them to fire a pinpoint shot.
Are you shitting me, War Machine?
Before the enemy.
Does he patch things up? There's no way.
What's interesting too is that while this is the modern era and we are seeing weapon systems that have played vital roles in the war on terror for the last 20 years, the Army is in the middle of a massive transformation in how it's thinking about war, in the systems it might be chasing after, especially as we've seen kind of the introduction of drones and we've seen them play such an important role in Ukraine. Can you talk a little bit about how the Army of the future is thinking and how it's adjusting and the kind of weapon systems it's looking for?
Absolutely. That's a big change the Army is making right now. Secretary of the Army and the Chief of Staff habitually talk about it. The Army Transformation Initiative is really creating or acquiring war-winning capabilities faster. That's, in its essence, is get the right things in the hands of soldiers much faster than we have been doing it forever, right? Looking at force structure, looking at what are some of those threats that we're going to be facing in the future, and then look at what we have now, and then training and building our force for the future fight. That is significantly
Grease. Well, Vosh once called me a
technology and embedded into
Vosh said I had a wicked sick aesthetic.
More lethal.
What are some of the things we're learning from how we've seen?
He called me the R slur.
Do you still need the Abrams tank? Do you still need the Bradley?
If you don't believe me about Vosh,
more vulnerable. Do you have to change?
Go ahead, light one up, tip one back. It's all right to have a little fun before you hit the sack. I'm JustinFREAKIN.
All we're establishing is this guy's wicked sick aesthetic.
Not high enough for this shit.
I guess I gotta thank Matt Walsh for introducing me to JustinFREAKIN.
Hey there, y'all. We're about to get stupid, locked into what that news be doing. Fu Manchu and a slick bandana, colder than ice, smoother than Santana. Audio, video, chat and calls. Right-wing nut jobs haunt the halls. What you wanna watch? Hey, what you think? And there's only one choice. It's JustinFREAKIN.
The guy's, he's a formidable voice in the call.
Light one up and tip one back. It's a right to be high. Let's grab a snack. It's fucking news, quit panic, attack, and play your cards right and get a titty slap. Jump in discords, have some fun. The man will talk to everyone. Get high and try to debate. When shit pops off, chat thinks it's great. What do you think you're doing? Join the troll patrol. Wherever discourse is brewing, he gives it that southern drawl.
So let's go ahead and bring in Justin. Hey Justin, how's it going, brother?
First of all, I want to say you're poser South. I'm in Alabama. I'm the real South.
Okay, all right. So why don't you tell us what it takes to be a man?
Well, I don't know. I'm in Alabama and I'll fuck a man in a dress. Why won't you fuck a man in a dress? Are you that insecure that you won't fuck a man in a dress?
That's fantastic. So you're okay with that, right?
Yeah. Why wouldn't I?
Right-wingers are morons.
Light one it and hit one back. One more click before we hit the set. Set an alert when that shit goes live. Social fucking support and hit subscribe. Light one up and take a hit. He does no harm, but it takes no shit. He's the last one standing when the ship is sinking. Let's take another rip for JustinFREAKIN.
Light one up, tip one back. I'm JustinFREAKIN.
Not high enough for this shit.
What'd you think about that, Grease?
United States.
Oh, that's right.
Mr. and Mrs. James Reagan, whoever the fuck they are.
Much like we approach training with safety and readiness in mind at all times.
I mean, like, if you want to fuck other streamers more than me, I totally understand that.
Actually master to ensure that one.
But if you at least consider me, then I'm flattered by that.
Across.
More than an hour now into this parade marking the U.S. Army's 250th birthday. Still more to come, assuming the weather can hold off. We hope to see some more fun aircraft, and at the very least, we will.
Look like the sun coming out.
Back with you shortly.
by securing.
Oh wow, is the AP taking a break?
By Army forces across the full spectrum of the conflict as part of the joint force.
Oh, is this back to the generic music I'm gonna have to turn down? Oh my God, it's Van Halen! Might as well jump! Let's see what else we got going on. This is the No Kings rally in LA. Oh God. We don't have sound. It looks like tear gas has been deployed. The view from the parade with... They were on the Barracuda port there. As we're outside broadcasting. Hold on, I'm going to find us a better... Here's Texas. I want ABC 7. That's the best coverage. Telemundo. Well, this is in Texas. No, I want LA live right now.
Carlos, un poco más adelante, pero seguimos ahí en el centro de Los Ángeles, Alejandra.
Sí, pues el APD también envió un pequeño tweet en donde dice que gente dentro de la multitud está lanzando al parecer rocas, ladrillos y botellas y otros objetos, que es justamente lo que las autoridades no querían.
Claro. Vámonos ahora con Gabriel Huerta, que se encuentra en otro punto del centro angelino. Vamos a ver qué está pasando por allá. Parece que el panorama es completamente distinto aquí, Gabriel.
Correcto, Enrique.
Correcto.
A lo que nos narra nuestro compañero Carlos Sánchez, en este lado pues cada vez está más tranquilo porque la gente ha comenzado a moverse, ha comenzado a dispersarse y solo permanece un grupo relativamente pequeño en las escalinatas del edificio del ayuntamiento, como podemos ver en estas imágenes que nos proporciona nuestro compañero Manuel Cid.
ABC News is showing the military parade. Go back to NBC LA. We don't have any sound. An insane use of police resources. Oh, here, I think the AP has... They've got a reporter on the ground that apparently was... there with the tear gas. What a day in mass shooting, mass roundup, fascist USA. Oink, oink. Left out a whole bunch of things, didn't I, War Machine? There are face shields on the horsies. This is the picture of the shooter from this morning in Minnesota. If you've not seen it, it's like something out of a horror movie. Shot a state senator and a state representative. One of them died. One is fighting for their life. Killed the spouse of one of them. Was impersonating a police officer. It was a wild day in the news in America.
Come on, man.
Let's go to local Minnesota station. Their live coverage of the manhunt.
Names or so listed on there, and those were almost entirely Democratic lawmakers and people involved in the abortion issue on the side of abortion rights. So that is kind of the background on who this
was. A far right nut job. He had a ministry.
No kings flyers that looked handmade written around.
Hello, welcome in.
Car. The suspect is also a member of the governor's Workforce Development Board. That is a board of a few dozen people, about 60 folks who are appointed by the governor. I talked to his staff members. This is not a cabinet position. It's not a position involving interviews. In fact, it's a position where it's typically a recommendation from the business community that gets you placed on that board, although the governor eventually is the one responsible for appointing them. The governor has no interaction with this person, and as far as his staffers know, he's never had any interaction with the suspect. And so this is not a board like a cabinet. It is not something the governor controls. It is something the legislature has created, and the governor theoretically puts some folks on there. There is, I think I mentioned before, there are like 60 members. There's an executive committee of about 8 members. He's not one of those members. Those are the folks who come forward with a report from all of their meetings and make recommendations for what the legislature might do to help the Minnesota state workforce and the business community.
So yeah, right-wingers trying to paint this guy as a Democrat. Apparently,
he has been
far right nut job.
Workforce Development Board since 2016, appointed by Governor Dayton, then reappointed by Governor Walz in 2019. His time on that board, though, from folks who were on the boards, his time there was not really noticeable from what they have said. Talking again about Senator Hoffman and Speaker Emerita Hortman.
What'd they want, Nathan?
Mentioned something I mentioned before about the Hoffman situation there in Champlin at the House there, where
if you care to share.
Senator John Hoffman, who is the Senate chair of the Human Services Committee, where they cut about $270 million out of the budget that they just passed. Senator Hoffman and his wife Yvette were at home. Their daughter Hope was with them, and according to a nephew, they were shot 6 and 5 times respectively.
But not the daughter?
Apparently shot more because she literally dove in front of their daughter Hope. Hope is an adult, but she has spina bifida and was at home with her parents there, and maybe her life was literally saved by her
wow.
Hoffman in this shooting. But both of them have been in surgery and have gotten out. Melissa Hortman and her husband Mark, unfortunately, did not survive the shooting. Melissa Hortman, speaker since 2019. Right up to this year, so that's 3 sessions. She was Speaker Emerita this session, so she's the top Democrat in the House. It was tied, but Speaker of the House was Lisa Dameth, the Republican.
Yeah, this is also, this assassination has tipped the favor in
where the Democrats actually didn't even
towards
have
the Republicans.
First, because of a man who ran.
They now control both chambers.
Not living in a district. And so that led to the 23-day standoff. Speaker Emerita Hortman led her caucus in a walkout and kept them away as they negotiated the power structure of the House. She eventually gave in and agreed to have Lisa Dameth, the Republican, as the Speaker of the House. But then throughout the session this year, Melissa Hortman's voice was nearly as important as the Speaker of the House, Lisa Dameth. Throughout her career, just
Oh wow, Nathan, that's
1 year's
that's odd.
Legislature, just widely recognized as just a superb legislator. I witnessed her for 3 years as a superb communicator, a great negotiator, a strong leader. Occasionally a humorous person, but very serious as well. Sometimes, very cunning, but sometimes just warm as could be. And, over the course of maybe 100 conversations, I don't have a friendship with her, but I definitely had a relationship with her. And she was definitely somebody who cared about the job that she did. She cared about, the media, making sure that they could do their job. And she cared about her.
What do you mean, DJ Dub? Do you think he offed himself?
Voices of Republicans we've talked to throughout the day, including former Representative Pat Garofalo, who said she'd probably be, she'll go down as the most influential speaker in the history of Minnesota, and that is saying something. Over the course of 9
I'm certain the dad in Washington offed himself.
One, that's a huge compliment to her work in this legislature. And I don't know what to say
Tim Herod, welcome in.
That you probably wanted in a legislator, especially if you're a Democrat, but even if you're a Republican, you respected them.
I like the way you think.
Corin, I know you're at that Blaine Command Center. You've been there for hours now. Are we expecting another update tonight? Is it only if there's an update to give? What are you hearing?
Yep, there are no planned updates. However, they're still here for the most part monitoring the situation. As I said, the governor left about 8 minutes ago, but if there is a major development, they'll come back out here. They will give us about a 30-minute heads up.
Oh, I was positive, based on everything that we know about the assassin, that he was a far-right nut job.
So that's the only situation in which we're going to get a press update here, but not planned to do anything else here. They kind of came out here a couple of times, once to set the scene and one more time because they had some critical information that they wanted to share about the suspect and try to get him out there with that identification, some of those photos. And then later they'd come in and out, just like not on camera, but to give us...
All right, we'll check back in with Minnesota here shortly. This is the manhunt still underway for... They've got the... Okay, Reuters with the Army band. Well, This is Right Side Broadcasting, still on the generic. Let me go to. Yeah, this is the local news station in DC.
And that they are used appropriately.
Probably should have been with them all along.
Fight, defend. And what we're learning is sort of how all of these vehicles are sort of working together in tandem to create, which is what we know it to be, a powerful defense.
Yes, combined integrated combat is what it is. No element.
That's Guns N' Roses in the background there, isn't it?
Or the aviation can operate alone. It's integrated, synchronized to have an
That's generic sweet child of mine.
We do it at our National Training Center. We do it at Joint Readiness Training Center. We do it in Germany. And so we train this hard, but it starts as a building block approach. Individual soldier skills, mastery of those skills, collective skills that take it all the way up to the Corps, division, and Army level.
Something I found really fascinating, as we look back at the history.
Fucking J.D. Vance.
All the way back. The Continental Army was originally composed of soldiers from Pennsylvania, Maryland, and Virginia. So specifically in our area, this is a point of pride and legacy.
Well, a lot of Virginians will tell you the nation started in Virginia. In many ways, you
I'm
go.
a Virginian, and that would be correct.
Amen. So am I. From 1607 at Jamestown, fast forward and let it unplay, and you'll see Virginia there. And every era, every conflict, and again, Virginia's still engaged, and so I'm quite proud of Virginia and what it's contributed.
It was good to see Governor Glenn Youngkin there, starting us off with that video. And again, we are looking.
No, it wasn't.
The crowd.
No, it wasn't.
Our U.S. Army now making their way down Constitution Avenue. We have seen some pretty incredible equipment going down the street, and with that, a really proper education. And
where do you go?
What goes into
where do you go?
Not ready, but the
aye. Sorry.
Good soldiers.
I think you said it really well, Larry, when you said the science of combat, the science of the military, helping people like you and I who do not know the inner workings of the Army and what it takes to necessarily defend a nation the size of the United States. We're kind of getting a crash course in what that looks like, what that means, and the pride that comes with serving. Something I did want to mention, we are seeing.
Yeah, really, he's really into this. He's the only one standing.
They're showing, we're seeing our president again on his 79th birthday. Do you see the different colors? Any idea? Can you bring me into that?
Yeah, so each branch of service in the Army, whether it be artillery, which is kind of a more maroon red color, infantry, light blue. So each one of the branches have a different color, and that's what you're seeing now. Cavalry will be the kind of the gold color. This is the 101st, what you're seeing here. This is the Screaming Eagles. The 101st Air Assault Division used to be airborne. Its lineage goes way back. But certainly World War II, which you're very familiar with. Also the Battle of the Bulge, the Bastogne, the battling bastards of Bastogne, and that's in our history, written that way. Surrounded by the Germans, and you have a guy named George S. Patton Jr.
Surrounded by Germans sounds like the setup for a porn.
As a matter of fact, the National Museum of the United States Army, we have Cobra King, which was the lead tank. Sherman tank. It wasn't the Bradley or the Abrams that broke the besiegement of Bastogne. And that famous word when we were asked to surrender, and McAuliffe said, nuts. Simply responded, nuts. And we did not surrender. And the rest is history.
And still have it to this day.
Okay, we are listening to this parade as it is underway. There are supposed to be flying.
It looks like the sun's coming out.
It's a bit overcast, a bit humid, and I would use the word misty.
Yeah, which is why they started the parade early. We knew about these sort of showers making their way to town, that it could be disrupted to the festivities today. The president was clear early on, rain or shine, that they were going to be out there and continue.
It might have been lightning.
Our U.S. Army.
All right, let's go ahead and check
Media's welcome in.
with Matt Gregory. He is along Constitution Avenue. He's been bringing us updates from the parade route. Matt, bring us into what you're seeing out there.
Like you're seeing, right, from your view, we're seeing all the different eras continue to come by as we work our way into the modern. I'm still waiting to see the future over here, but, as we've been looking at everything, and I keep checking over my shoulder just to get an idea of what's coming down Constitution Avenue. Again, we have the Paladin coming by. We have, some of the current Army Corps members passing through here. It's very exciting, honestly, to see all these things at once. But I will point out that, the longer the parade goes on, the more and more people we see sort of leaving the area. And you can see it's continuing across the way to kind of thin out a little bit more even. So this again is the Paladin, as I was told here, one of the primary artillery devices.
Yeah, what a pathetic turnout.
For the Army, rather. And we're moving along pretty quickly, honestly. Everything, by the way, it was a half hour earlier when we started. Now we're moving up about an hour or so. Along the way, logistically, there's all sorts of bathrooms, there's food trucks across the mall, and there are monitors, or rather big screens to see the parade back on the mall, but we're not seeing a whole lot in the way of a crowd that would be necessary for. I'm trying to look beyond my photographer, and you can see some people still near the Washington Monument, but as far as down here, right along the parade route, it's not quite as packed in, and I do think a lot of that has to do with the impending rain. We're kind of being given a brief reprieve, it feels like.
Seriously, it looks like the sun's coming out.
Hot, sweaty. You could feel sort of like cooler breeze coming through as it started to rain, and now we're sort of in a dry spell, not as humid, not as hot. Honestly, it's when I would expect more people to be coming out here, but it's hard to tell or hard to gauge. I'm still waiting to see if we're going to have fireworks tonight. If it rains, it's going to be hard to have those, and so that's where this is supposed to head to. We are to hear from the president at some point, and we're going to see some more.
Yeah, the parade is supposed to end at 9. It was supposed to start at 6:30, end at 9:30.
Lee Greenwood,
with fireworks.
Singer, and perhaps a country band right after that. So a lot that's still going on as this birthday for the Army continues to go on. And
I'm not sure I recognize that one from Prometheus. It's all been generic, like 80s rock.
We've got over here, these are these the strikers, Kurt? Actually, if you could bring the general in, I wanted to ask him a couple of questions about this. One of the things I was wondering about, I don't want to misspeak, but as we see these tanks coming through, when we look at the future of the Army, what role do they play in the future? I guess that was something I wanted to ask the general, if he has any insight into where that would be, because these are, highly effective vehicles for different warfare, but we're seeing warfare change.
Yeah, Matt, good.
Butt rock, yeah, that's what it is.
Looking at was a Bradley, not a Striker. Striker's got the wheels. You'll get that one down. Now you got the tracks down. We're going to work the wheels next.
Jock jams.
Right, but you don't know what the next fight's going to carry, right? I mean, some would say it's already started, and it started in the cyber realm. But you're going to have the capability, and what we know is it takes a soldier with a guide on in his hand, planting a standard in the ground, ultimately at the end of the day. And so I think we've got to be prepared for that, and we have strategists that work really hard to determine.
Oh, that's totally Journey.
A kind of combination.
It's karaoke Journey. There's my GOP mommy, Senator Joni Ernst, looking spectacular.
We're seeing that as it unfolds here. But again, this is a history of warfare. It's also a history of technology and development over time, and that's going to continue to occur. You're seeing that now with the squad infantry vehicle here. You're starting to see more of the modern weapon systems itself, to include our new rifle system. So we've gone from a smoothbore musket now to a highly proficient squad weapon and individual weapon. So good point, very well noted. But again, these are implements of war that you've got to have to be a standing army to counter opponents.
Thinking about this initially,
I'm sure you did, Warlord.
Technology's been going. That
Would you like a cookie?
Drones are becoming a lot more prevalent. There's a deeper conversation about that. That people looking at this at home would say, well,
I bet those motherfuckers are really hot.
Given what we're able to do in terms of our drone technology.
Not like, hot as in fuckable.
George and the Army staff.
But hot as in, it's a swamp in D.C.
Drone, you've heard them talk about.
Probably 85 degrees.
What's happened in Ukraine and other areas of the world. And so we've taken that very, very seriously. Again, that's the latest break-in. So it's he who can.
Some of them might be fuckable.
Develop the fastest to make the difference on the battlefield, to seize, gain, and maintain and hold the initiative. That's what it's all about. But again, everybody gets a vote, to include weather, just like we'll see here a little bit later.
It looks like they're ready to go jump in the lake.
I'm fascinated by.
They're amphibious.
Matt, go ahead.
Oh, sorry. I'm fascinated by what we're actually. It's fascinating to see sort of like the advance of technology. Yes, we're looking at the different regiments, right? The Revolutionary War. We're seeing the Civil War. We're seeing them go from horses, 100 years of horses in the Army, to the beginning of the 20th century phased out, and then from tanks with World War I to tanks in World War II, and suddenly we're seeing it's fascinating to see that the way technology moves is
fascinating to see technology.
I mean, obviously, that's been sort of the precursor.
Great observation.
Is, the DoD work on things, but it is fascinating to see with your own eyes just this timeline.
He said fascinating.
Moves from
4 times now.
Drones within the span of 250 years. And I wonder whether the general could comment on just sort of the role the military plays in the advance of technology.
Yeah, it's Matt, another great observation. So there's a symbiotic relationship between our Army, its needs, and the military-industrial complex, I'll call it for lack of a better word. So a lot of talk and a lot in the news about.
I feel like he said that, like endearingly.
Long, too expensive, and
that's a good thing.
In that area, and what we're seeing right now is handheld drones, right? So you're seeing those capabilities really at the forefront of the battle space with individual soldiers. And so you're looking at right now 327, a unit I happen to serve in, an infantry battalion. And so what they're trying to show you is the night vision goggles you're seeing on top of their heads, the new weapon systems they got in their hands. So we've advanced beyond the M4 carbine, then the M16, the M1 Garand, and the musket, smoothbore musket. And it happens, like you said, very rapidly.
The protest is something that we've been talking a lot about across the nation today.
He's like Logan Paul in a WWE ring, carrying his drone around with him.
Not necessarily at the parade, but that's something we've been watching very closely.
Right, we've certainly seen them on the outskirts of town. Video online circulating currently suggests that we have pockets of groups that are forming at least with maybe about 8 blocks from where the parade is taking place. I'm going to have Matt Gregory stand by. I want to get to Lionel Donovan right now because he's been patient with us. Lionel, walk us through what you're seeing in terms of these demonstrations. We've been talking about these No King protests popping up. What are you seeing from your vantage point? What has been the discussion thus far?
Good evening, Larry. Well, I want to take you across the street right here, just in front of Lafayette Park, where we've been seeing a steady stream of folks trying to make their way to the parade. However, earlier today, hundreds of people filled the streets of downtown D.C. and Lafayette Park in opposition to today's military parade. They were joined by thousands around the country as part of a nationwide No Kings protest. But earlier today, I spoke with a Democratic lawmaker who spoke at today's rally, who said he not only wants to see this kind of energy increase, he wants to brought directly to D.C. to make sure President Trump gets that message. Representative James Keaty marched from Logan Circle to Lafayette Square with hundreds of other protesters earlier today and accused President Trump of using the U.S. military as a, quote, prop. Now he's calling for those who oppose Trump's actions to gather in D.C. and pointed to other countries as an example of similar tactics. Although he admitted that the size of the U.S. may make that difficult, he says at this point it has to be done.
We go 3,000 miles coast to coast, 1,500 from north to south.
Probably Prometheus.
A little bit more effort and creative organizing, but we've got to get more than 10 million people into the streets here in D.C. to jam up the gears of government, make our nation ungovernable, because that will be, I believe, the lever that pushes Donald Trump out of power.
Now, other protests are planned for the week of July 4th, but coming up at later tonight, I'll get a chance to speak with a Marine veteran who traveled all the way from California to attend today's rally, who says that he hopes his presence can serve as an example for other Americans staying home. But for now, we're live near Lafayette.
Multiple veterans arrested staging a sit-in
Thank you. No doubt
at the Capitol last night.
Thompson, as we're looking at the sign of a healthy democracy, right? We can have what can be a celebration for our men and women in uniform in the Army, as well as demonstrations for people that may believe differently as it relates specifically to the policies of the administration. Kind of taking this all in and seeing what we're seeing right now, how comforted are you that we are in a good position both militarily and socially as well?
Yeah, I think it's a great point. It's one that concerns all of us, obviously, certainly being in uniform. I mean, the last thing we want to be is a catalyst for any of this dissent among the populace. I mean, we're soldiers. We serve the nation's will. We serve the Constitution. And so it's very important for us to be nonpartisan. But at the same time, you're hoping and praying, and sometimes you must vote, right? to make a difference. So I think it's extremely important. It's okay to protest. Listen, our country from 250 years didn't always get along. You know, we were at each other. We had different opposing views, but there were things that brought us together, that kept us together. That's what we need to focus on. You know, we call it life, liberty, pursuit of happiness, freedom, you know, equality for all. I mean, those are the things that are important. Those are what most of those people, some of them, are probably wanting to get at, is have a conversation about that. I think where there's a rub is obviously when it goes extremely violent and they attack government property, and then there's decisions that have to be made. You know, you have to do something to prevent that. So I'm with you. I understand, and I
Boo.
the fact that they can protest. They do it peacefully, right, to make a difference.
I did want to take a look at what we're seeing with this flyover. Can you help us understand what piece of machine we're looking at here?
Well, this is what everybody wanted to see. This is the M1 Abrams, which doesn't fly, but the Apache certainly does, the Longbow Apache. And that's what you're seeing now is a flyover. Think back to Desert Shield, Desert Storm.
That was an Army official speaking, so I wouldn't expect anything less from him. He did condemn
aircraft bombs and then deep strikes done by the 101st and the Apaches of 101st. And that's what you're seeing here is the AH-64. And again, extreme.
That wasn't like one of the news anchors.
You're seeing now a UH-60 Black Hawk helicopter. Again, working in unison. The Apache goes forward, it's got to be refueled. It's got to be rearmed. And so again, that's what you're seeing with UH-60s, CH-47s.
They are so dramatic to look at. I mean, they are just so captivating to watch. So the Apache is the one we're looking at right now.
I am not high enough for this shit.
UH-60 Black Hawks, the Apaches are in lead.
Okay, and these are going by the Washington Monument as we speak. I wanted to go back to the Apaches and just mention, so in context of when they would have been used, we're talking Operation Enduring Freedom, Operation Iraqi Freedom. Does some of that sound correct to you?
Oh, it does. Yeah, and it's still being used to this day. So
he just made his dick hard.
2009 in Diyala Province, Iraq, as well as in Afghanistan. We had Apaches there.
That's the only way that old fogey can get it up is think about killing kids in war.
And very survivable.
Well, you know, at one point we just saw what appeared to be a robotic dog going down the coast.
Everybody's happy we have the dog.
We've talked about the tanks, but we've got pups too.
We're in the future now.
Okay, your military brain must, I mean, what do you think of these? Where would these be useful in combat?
Yeah, so
now
this
for
is, actually pretty
finding mines and shit.
Robotics has been big. I mean, so this can go in with the camera, obviously, with sensors, right, to determine chemical, nuclear, biological as well. It goes upstairs, can go downstairs, and there's even more advanced than this. And so think for a minute if you don't want to put a human in harm's way, and you want to go to determine if there's a improvised house explosive or explosive device, or you want to do a reconnaissance inside of an area in which you don't want to put troops in, there's the utility of something like this. To enable us to get eyes forward to see in all types of terrain. They don't feel pain.
Yeah, that is a big giant dick monument.
Okay.
In case anyone was unaware.
I'm curious for you. I mean, we're seeing so much today, but something tells me, a little birdie tells me that this is just a taste of what is available in terms of the arsenal of the U.S. Army. That we're just seeing a little bit, but there's a lot more.
Oh, there is. Some of these are common denominators, right? All these divisions that you're seeing today, these lethal divisions, historic stored divisions, I mean, incredible. Whether it's an airborne division, which we have, there are assault divisions, armored division, cav divisions, light.
What were those little things?
They've got these systems, right, available to them. And
that you had to take care of in like the late 90s, and all the kids had them.
That we employ.
That was the precursor to these, right? You're learning how to take care of the robot army that was coming to enslave us.
Okay, so this is the Army's...
Once again, RB, that was the guy you're hearing speak is an Army official.
The Chinook. What should we know about that?
CH-47 is a heavy...
That's not the news anchors.
Put vehicles
so of course he's going to hype up this shit.
Not only conventional forces, but we haven't talked a lot about special operations forces. So you have Task Force 160, which is a special operations air wing that uses a very advanced CH-47s. Typically you'll see the probe that sticks out the front. Those are aerial refuel. So again, there's a lot more that you're not seeing here, but you're seeing kind of the conventional aspect of our arsenal.
Matt Gregory is on the ground close to the reviewing stand.
I was going to say, the dude that's speaking had a heart on the entire time.
Given what they're seeing, not only along the parade route, but also in the air as well.
Listen, Larry, you know I'm always going to tell it to you straight. I think a lot of people were confused by what they were seeing because that was the future of the Army. And what they had going on was drone warfare is what it looks like. I mean, we saw a tank that looked remote controlled, if I'm being honest. We saw, a bunch of aerial drones going through just before, and then those dogs, the robotic dogs. Yes, they're cute to see.
Ooh, let the dogs out. Cute.
You see the Abrams tanks, you see the Sherman tanks, you see the history, you see the strength of the U.S. military.
You should never refer to military hardware as
That
cute.
reaction was a bit muted by the crowd here, but right now
That is
it's
journalistic
It's
malpractice.
actually gotten quite quiet as a marching band is coming through, and I'm trying to figure out, if we've seen the modern military and the future of the military. I think we're getting closer and closer to the address from the president. And, there's been multiple different arrangements of Army color guard coming through. At this point, and you could have asked the general what we're looking at right now. I'm seeing it just over my shoulder, but I can't quite make out the PA announcer saying, who is this? Here comes the president. He's about to, the president, if you can see him on the pool feed, he is right near this. These are, VMI, that's what it is. I'm so sorry.
And
Those are
West
the dress
Point.
uniforms, I think, of the military academies. I think I'm seeing VMI and West Point. Okay, very good. So, General, what does it look like in terms of...
Yeah, we do get a Trump speech.
The military academies, have we seen growth in their ranks? Are we seeing it playing the role it's historically played? Like, what are you hearing?
Yeah, so what you were seeing...
The sex boys.
Military Academy, marching. You got
Flo, explain.
some Citadel.
What?
Well, there's other military academies that are out there.
No, sex bots, okay.
Norwich University. So we're seeing steady growth as far as ROTC programs, which are the primary.
Big fucking difference there.
Corps, and then of course West Point. West Point's doing pretty good.
Send in the sex boys, something you'd expect to hear in like a Catholic church.
Yes, they're continuing to feed high quality leaders, young leaders into our service to grow them. And again, there's a high turnover rate, but folks can vote too and get out. So a key aspect of that is the ROTC program. Don't discount though, because you also have Officer Candidate School, which allows those that are enlisted or non-commissioned officers to transition into the officer corps as well.
The Kennedy School of Cock.
I can't wait.
And as they're coming by right now, I'm going to step out of the way. You can see, there we are right there, the marching band coming through. The uniforms are pristine. I mean, the blue is just spot on right here. And
Happy Pride Month, everybody.
It's things that many folks will never see. They won't see the West Point marching band coming through. They won't see, the cadets on their way through. It's something that, many people here, I think, are finally kind of getting the idea that this is a once in a long.
Oh my God, I heard some kind of scratching. I was like, is Smokey behind my monitor? I reached back, and sure enough, his fuzzy ass is back there.
There's the camaraderie between those four when it comes to athletics and all. Anyway, the one thing I would ask you, General, that I was very curious about, because we've been sort of talking about this, there is a current ongoing land war in Europe. And I was wondering if there's anything that we're seeing, because we're seeing the tanks come through, we've seen that tanks are being used in Ukraine. Is there anything we're learning from that conflict in the U.S. military that could shape how we do things in the future? Because it is, still ongoing.
No, Matt, good point. We're always learning. There's whole divisions of the Army, not infantry divisions, but outfits that focus on the adversary, what we're learning from that. We call it CALL, Center for Army Lessons Learned. And so it's only a lesson learned if you inculcate it in the culture of the organization and you make change. Change that gives you the positional advantage. And so we are learning a lot of those lessons. We employ those in our combat training centers and at home station training the best that we can. We have what we call Red 4, which is the opposing forces, which test us that way. And we do that again at all the training centers itself. But listen, all these cadets that you're seeing marching here, they had to raise their right hand for an oath as well. They chose to be in that uniform. They chose to go to that academy. They chose to work hard to do what they're doing, to seek a commission in the United States Army. And so to me, this is one of the most humbling aspects of the parade today, is to see our youth still committed, still wanting to raise their right hand and be patriotic and give more than they expect to get back. So it's heartening to see, Matt.
Yeah, we're going to see the recommissioning, if I'm not mistaken. Have we already seen that?
Oh my God! Then Smokey, he was just laying there. He just pops his head up from my monitor.
Even though the parade seems to be coming to its end here, in terms of active military units coming through, active military equipment coming through. But there's still a little bit more, guys, that's in store. The president speaking, and it's something I don't think. It was hard to kind of envision what this would look like, crowd size, how it would look with tanks rolling down Constitution Avenue. But, we're getting an idea that this is something may never see again. And it's quite fascinating to see. I mean, it hasn't been since 1991, since the end of Desert Storm. So I'm here. The whole crowd's gotten silent. I think we're about to hear something, so I'm going to send it back to you guys to kind of observe as we get an idea of what's happening next in the ceremony.
Matt, thank you. What he was talking about is we're about to see the oath of enlistment to some 250 soldiers. The president is going to speak. We're going to hang with this for just a moment to see what exactly we're listening to, because if there is a speech coming down, we don't want to miss that. But you're getting a feel for the soldiers marching by. You're hearing them march and talk? Is that what am I hearing?
Yeah, you're hearing what's called Jody. They're keeping them in cadence, left, right, left, and then you'll sing songs, what we call Jodies. One esprit, two to keep everybody in
Jodeci?
Okay, we need to, I think we should hang with this.
Yeah, let's listen in.
The pride to serve my country knows that I'm doing it not for myself. Every day I put on the uniform, I'm not just representing Caroline Robinson.
All right, we're going to continue our coverage and go back to the reviewing stand momentarily when we believe that the president is close to the lectern. Let's bring in Alexis Wainwright now. Alexis, we understand that the parade has about wrapped up where you are, and people that have been there watching the festivities are likely.
That would have been all right with watching the video
of the festivities that will be taking place later tonight.
It apparently wanted to cut away from it. Smokey, would you sit down?
Yeah, Larry, that's exactly right. You can see behind me that there's nothing going on right here at the intersection of 18th and Constitution. But further down behind me, you can see a long line and a crowd of people, many of them who were just here moments ago, now loading that way to exit out of this area. But we do know a concert will be happening shortly, and a lot of people are also heading further down Constitution to go closer to the stage.
A concert is happening.
Hayden Carpenter, I know you've been standing here watching. You came all the way from Ohio. Just tell me, what was your favorite moment from this parade?
My favorite moment would be whenever they shown off their technological advancements with like the robot dogs and the drones. So that's just the future of
Where's this dude from?
Having them show it off.
Gigio, you're right at the ass end of it.
I know this is a moment that we don't often see. A lot of this military.
That redhead has a booty.
Constitution Avenue in Washington, D.C.
Wait a minute, that's not redhead, that's just a hat.
To come down here to watch this parade in person today.
Well, it's the 250th anniversary, so
Is he getting ready to speak?
And this is like a historical moment in time right now. So
who are we getting at the concert?
Tell me how special it is to share that moment with them here today.
It's very special to spend this moment with him, especially since my brother's birthday is today. Happy birthday, Brian Carpenter. And it's just amazing.
Happy birthday, Brian.
Thank you so much. We really appreciate it. So again, you can just hear the testimonies from so many
Smokey,
people.
will you make up your mind?
Speak, and it sounds like a lot more happening back at that stage. So we'll send it back to you guys for now.
Thank you so much. We are now waiting for the president to give the oath, which no doubt will be an exciting opportunity for those young men and women that are just below him.
Yeah, this is quite a moment for the Army. Again, we're going to watch the president here.
So he's gonna speak.
Here, let's hang tight real quick, see what they're saying.
Apparently he's going to be reading the oath, so maybe it's not going to be about him.
The oath of enlistment is what we're going to see here. 250 soldiers, part of the pageantry, part of the patriotism today is showing the growth of the military and what the path to the future is looking like. And that is a cornerstone of this event, and this is what we're about to watch.
General, I'd imagine with that oath, it is a opportunity to
DJ Dub is saying we need to get more high.
And supporting the Army's mission and protecting the United States.
No, it certainly is. I mean, it starts with I solemnly swear, and that's a powerful word, or affirm, whichever they choose. And then to support and defend the Constitution, truth, faith, and allegiance, right? Which is what we want from them. Obey orders, and they do this before their God.
And you can see what a solemn moment this is. The president
before their God
had repeatedly taking this moment before he brings these troops in with this oath. And he is now approaching the podium. We know he's going to give the oath and also share some words. So let's listen in.
Hey! Mr. President, First Sergeant Norton reporting for duty, sir. Ready to commence the ceremony as directed.
I state your name.
I should get off here as quickly as possible. Miss Sparkles is in town.
That I will support and
I should go out to dinner with her.
the Constitution of the United States of America. Against all enemies. Foreign and domestic. That I will bear true faith. And allegiance to the same. And that I will obey the orders. Of the President of the United States. And the orders. Of the officers appointed over me. According to regulations. And the Uniform Code of Military Justice. So help me God. Congratulations, congratulations. Welcome to the United States Army and have a great life. Thank you very much. Have a great life. Thank you.
I mean, he is the commander-in-chief. I don't think he rewrote that. I think that's the way it's always been. State your name. Hey, Smokes, move. I can't see. I can't see.
It will always
I mean, the military is like, it has to be fashy.
each other.
General, I want to get your perspective on this as someone who's taken that oath. Walk us through that moment. What are these?
Draggy, welcome in.
What are they being asked to do?
You want to see some cat ass?
Well, I don't know how they felt, but I know how I would have felt. Standing there before this crowd on this day, 250 years after the inception of this nation, I would have been extremely humbled, probably a bit petrified. But hopefully those words mean something. They listen to the words. It might take them a little time to kind of internalize those words, but it's an extremely emotional moment. Yeah, have a good life. Have a good life in the United States military contributing. And then you one day will be a veteran. And then that's when it gets really important. Do you continue to contribute to society?
And then once you're a veteran, they quit caring about you.
Enlisted oath, we got an officer's oath. And so those are all oaths that are words, but you got to put into action. Yesterday at the Nationals, at the Capitals game, baseball, the 82nd Airborne Division, Major General was behind home plate.
Bad homeless veteran problem.
Ceremony.
With like a fourth wall veterans
are
are
the entire crowd.
Are
Standing there
homeless.
taking pictures. Then I know him and sent him.
Or fourth wall homeless or veteran.
What he just
I had it backwards.
every
That sounds
single
more
day.
right.
We're seeing the soldiers
More right.
who want to serve, to raise their right hand, and then start their
I'm
journey.
not high enough for this shit.
To the power of that moment, because they're standing on Constitution Avenue in our nation's capital before the President of the United States. And when you took your own oath of enlistment, I mean, what do you remember from it back in that day?
Yeah, I took my oath at Norwich University on the campus of Norwich in 1984, and I knew what I was getting into. Right? They don't yet. They've not been to basic training, but they have a general idea, and that's the job of the recruiting command to do that. And they're
Is this part of the
Get their
concert?
minds right. Make sure they go physically fit. They'll go through the MEP station, which is a medical evaluation station. They'll get a basic training date. Then
I have two really good friends that are
When I
ex-military.
look back 34 years ago when I walked in two different parades very similar to this, not until years after did it really sink in what I just experienced. And in many ways, once they get the basic training through that training, and then they become no kidding soldiers, right? Card-carrying soldiers, then I think it's going to impact them. Looking back,
At least he didn't use the Insurrection Act this week.
And the relationships that they develop as they go through the basic training, I imagine, are relationships that they will keep for the rest of their lives.
Yes, and you'll never forget your drill sergeant.
Ever.
For good or bad reasons.
Okay, so we are taking a look out at the parade here. What's up next is there will be a concert in some form, we understand, but we are waiting for President Donald Trump to make some remarks. He'll give a speech.
He just did, didn't he?
Gregory, he's been hinting at a country group or artist that will be performing. We've yet to get the name. He's been teasing this for about 45 minutes now.
Wait a minute.
I'm ready to hear the name now.
We don't even know the name of the band.
We've got this. I did want to ask real quickly.
Looks like they're getting ready to get
Why
started.
did the president choose the Army instead of any other branch. I mean,
I like the
you're biased, here, but why do you think they?
Well, I mean, today
is his birthday.
Is monumental in our history. It's the Army. The Land Force Army.
That's because it's his birthday.
This nation preceded the birth of the nation by 1 year. That's probably why he chose it. Perhaps his birthday has something to do with it too. But certainly for us, what we're focused on are those soldiers, the story they tell, their timeless, endless, diverse story, and how it's going to impact our future.
Well, with that, let's take a listen to the concert that's already in progress.
She's my pretty little poison, my heartache in the night with a kiss on her lips just like cyanide. Yeah, she came with a warning, but I didn't mind. I'll go out on that high every time. She's my pretty little poison.
Apparently, Israel has asked the U.S. to join in the war with Iran.
We all need some kind of fix. For me, she's the one to pick. Nothing else will do the trick. She's all I need. She's my pretty little poison. My heartache in the
I can't believe this is the band. I thought it was just some track that was playing by RB. sorry.
Yeah, she came with a warning.
You came with a warning.
I'll go out on that high every time. She's my pretty little poison. My pretty little poison.
Noah Hicks.
Some I guess it's alcohol. I don't want none at all. I just want you. No, I just want you. My pretty little poison. My heartache in the night with a kiss on her lips just like cyanide. Yeah, she came with a warning, but I didn't mind. I'll go out on that high every time. She's my pretty little poison.
What does the burning rose represent?
She's my pretty little poison. Thank you. I'm not gonna lie, y'all. I'm nervous, but I would just like to say thank you so much for having me here tonight.
This is horrible.
I'm just so fortunate to be here in front of y'all, and thank you guys so much for what you guys do. And honestly, happy birthday, y'all. Happy birthday.
Happy birthday.
This next song was loved by y'all, so if you know the words, please sing along. This song's called Ride the Lightning, y'all.
Ride the Lightning, like Metallica? I mean, there might be people in the military that know them. That might be why they got booked. And also, since I took a good look at him, I might be biased now because I'd fucking.
There's a man in a black coat standing at a crossroads with a pen in his hand and a long.
No idea, War Machine. The fireworks supposed to take place at like 1:45 or 9 o'clock.
There's a man in a black coat standing there.
I'm sorry. Are you saying it's awful?
I hope he lets me pass by.
It's kind of my thing. I specialize in doing all the political events.
Feel the thunder till the darkness pulls me under. Gonna fly on wings of fire, breathing good Lord.
We could have been watching wrestling right now.
When they call me home, singing oh, when they call me home, gonna ride the lightning, ride the.
I was thinking about Bash at the Beach 2000. 25-year anniversary. Just watch the whole event. It's a train wreck. That's probably what we'll do next week. A most auspicious day.
We got one more chorus, y'all.
We got one more horse. Fucking DJ Dub wants us to watch police violence over this. Did I put it down in the bottom corner? That probably is a good idea, actually.
Ladies and gentlemen, everybody here, everybody that has attended tonight, I just want to say thank you so much. And I'll leave y'all with this. I'm more insiders, y'all. Thanks for having me.
He's what? I don't think that was Noah Hicks.
It has been my honor, ladies and gentlemen. I really mean that. Thank you so much. Happy birthday to the Army. Happy birthday to our President, Donald Trump. And
Oh, that's totally not the right one, is it? Totally not the right one. There we go. That was Anna Polina Luna, my friend. That was my GOP mommy. See, you guys thought she was attractive until I tell you She's Representative Anna Paulina Luna, right?
Greatest fighting force ever to walk the face of the earth. The United
Hypocrites.
States Army.
Hypocrites.
Okay, so we just heard a concert. As you were listening in, everyone was rocking out. We had Warren Ziders singing a number of.
Oh, yeah.
Warren Ziders.
I mean, I couldn't help but do a little bop here.
See, she can be my GOP mommy. She's very attractive.
And
oh, hold on.
You love about it, I mean, clearly he's excited to be there. Our men and women in uniform also excited to hear him as well, and definitely sort of taking in the moment, right? Showing his appreciation to the U.S. Army, but also expressing his gratitude as well.
Yeah, Warren Zevon would have been cool, but I kind of think he would have had something. And also, like, he's British, right?
This moment, he said, "God bless America." The whole crowd went.
Wait, was the band on a float and they stopped and now they're being taken out?
The epitome of hometown to some
Oh, absolutely. We'll claim them.
Yeah, and so for him to have this stage, that was great. It was great to see. And we see right now the soldiers who were just given the oath of enlistment making their way out. We know the president is going to speak here shortly, so we're keeping a close eye on the podium for you.
Yeah, for those that just took the oath of enlistment, General, I want to get your take. What does the next sort of year look like for them?
Yeah, so they do the oath, and then they'll get their basic training report date. So they'll report the basic training. They'll get highly stylish haircuts when they get there.
Is that what we're calling that?
Oh, yeah. They'll turn in all those kind of trappings of civilian life, and then they'll become a soldier.
And there's a reason behind that.
That is
bottom right-hand corner is live shot in L.A.
Is to make them take the product that you've got and make it better. Those strengths, those skills that they have, those passions.
This is the L.A. County Sheriff's Office.
The edges, so they learn about the military and kind of how to fit.
Not even the LAPD.
Teams.
You know, as the parade begins to wind down, our Alexis Wainwright is on the parade route. She was talking to people out there. She was saying it's beginning to wind down in her area. We know J.D. Vance, Vice President J.D. Vance, has approached the podium. Let's see if we can listen in on him.
Well, let me say to the thousands of Americans who traveled from distant towns and across state lines to be here today, this is your national capital. Welcome to Washington, D.C. We are thrilled to have you. This evening,
gotta be
as
respectful.
we celebrate the 250th anniversary of the United States Army, the oldest branch of the greatest fighting force ever known to man, I want to say to all the soldiers all across our nation's capital and all across the world, happy birthday, soldiers. We're proud of you. And I want to say you represent an unbroken line of greatness, of excellence. And one of the things the President of the United States has told his entire administration, from the Vice President on down, is that we must remember
God damn, looks like we got new attacks on Tel Aviv. Shit.
Serve this nation are our most precious resource. We must honor them, we must respect them, we must fight for them, and that's exactly what the Trump administration aims to do every single day. And so to our soldiers, we're so proud of you, and let me tell you that the way that we honor and respect you is, number one, we never ask you to go to war unless you absolutely have to. And number two, when we do ask you to go to war, we give you the weapons and the support needed to kick the hell out of the enemy and come back home.
Taking random. They apparently have plans to invade Greenland.
Now I know
I refuse to say they don't.
standing
When Hegseth testified.
And that is a dangerous place to be with a lot of soldiers in the audience. So let me just say a couple of quick additional thoughts. First of all, June the 14th is, of course, the birthday of the
deployed in L.A.
Of course, the birthday of the President of the United States, and happy birthday, Mr. President. But I would get in trouble if I didn't mention
I don't
it's also my wedding anniversary, and so to my lovely wife, I love you, honey. Happy anniversary.
I don't think she was a dancer, but she was like a model of some sort.
So without further ado, it is my pleasure to introduce the 45th and 47th Commander-in-Chief of the United States military, President Donald J. Trump.
Flash, welcome in. The entire parade, this is Trump speaking. You see Kennedy walking in behind him.
Thank you to Vice President Vance, and thank you to our wonderful First Lady, and above all, thank you to the greatest, fiercest, and bravest fighting force ever to stride the face of this earth, the United States Army. Thank you very much.
Down at the bottom right-hand corner, you see a live shot of L.A. as the L.A. County Sheriff's Department facing off with
strong and
protesters. They have deployed tear gas multiple times.
Very proud. They're watching.
Looks like they've deployed it multiple times again just now.
Very proud. Every other country celebrates their victories. It's about time America did too. That's what we're doing tonight. And watching this magnificent display, our souls are filled with gratitude for every generation of warriors who have worn the uniform all the way back to the very beginning. So to every veteran across our land and right here in our nation's capital.
No, that's his bulletproof glass that you're seeing. You're seeing the reflection of it.
Medal of Honor. We love you, we honor you, and we salute your noble service to our flag and to our country. As we celebrate tonight, we also think of the hundreds of thousands of Army soldiers who have made the supreme sacrifice for our nation and selflessly laid down their lives.
They don't have any filters or anything.
The revolution to the war on terror, to the Gold Star families with us today. The courage of your heroes is the bedrock on which our entire nation stands. We thank you. Yes, we thank you. Today we commemorate.
There is a No Kings protest
American history, but changed
about 8 blocks down from where Trump is speaking right now.
With the creation of America's Army on June 14th, 1775, liberty got its shield and the freedom got its sword.
Oh, I got the year. It was the year before.
Those first Army patriots in the American Revolution fought against a fearsome enemy and impossible odds. But they were armed with a righteous cause. They were led by an indomitable commander, a truly great man, General George Washington, and they were united by an eternal creed. Their motto was victory or death. Over the past 2.5 centuries, our warriors have shown unrivaled valor on fields of battle around the globe. With the frostbitten feet and bloody fist, they have marched into the flames and fury of combat, charged up mountains, stormed beaches, waded through torrents of gunfire, and leapt into skies thick with smoke and shrapnel. The U.S. Army has driven bayonets into the heart of sinister empires, crushed the ambitions of evil tyrants. Beneath the threads of American tanks, it's done so well, it's done so much, and sent the devil himself flying into full retreat. Time and again, America's enemies have learned that if you threaten the American people, our soldiers are coming for you. Your defeat will be certain, your demise will be final, and your downfall will be total and complete. Because our soldiers never give up, never surrender, and never, ever quit. They fight, 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 and they win, win, win. And that's why no institution in history has entered more names into the roster of American heroes than the U.S. Army, the Congressional Medal of Honor, more than anyone or anything. There was Mad Anthony Wayne, asked by George Washington to lead a daring midnight raid up the cliffs of Stony Point with unloaded muskets and only their bayonets to fight the redcoats. Mad Anthony replied, "Issue the order, sir, and I will storm into hell for you." Then there was the Civil War general John Corse, shot in the face in combat. He fired off a message to his commander. I am short a cheekbone and one ear, but I am able to whip the hell out of all of them. He stayed on the front lines, it seemed forever. In World War II,
I don't know that the cops have assaulted the libs.
Besieged on all sides by the Nazis at the Battle of the Bulge.
Everything seemed to have been pretty peaceful at the No Kings. I don't know that the people that are facing off with the cops in LA right now are libs.
This is the fighting spirit and unyielding force of the
He seems kind of bored.
It has never changed, and it will never, ever change, because there is no earthly force more powerful than the brave heart of a U.S. infantryman or an Army Ranger, paratrooper, or Green Beret. They are the best. They are the finest. From Bunker Hill to
firing tear gas again.
From Gettysburg to Guadalcanal, from Yorktown to Shiloh, and from the trenches of the Argonne to the mountains of Afghanistan, the Army has forged a legacy of unmatched courage, untold sacrifice, and unequaled and undying glory. Our soldiers have poured out their blood.
Have I made it through the 10 minutes, mostly because I've been letting Trump talk?
Missionary Ridge and Heartbreak Ridge, on the sands of Sicily, Normandy, and the Philippines, and on the dusty streets of Da Nang, Baghdad, and Fallujah.
Da Nang.
Thanks to their extraordinary service and devotion, 250 years later,
Da Nang.
America stands tall, America stands proud, and America stands free. We're the hottest country in the world right now, and our country will soon be greater and stronger than ever before. Down through history, we've been blessed beyond words by this valiant legion of Army warriors and patriots, heroes and legends. And tonight we affirm with unwavering certainty that in the years ahead and in every generation hence, whenever duty calls and
did that cop just throw a flashbang?
The American soldier will be there.
Another one?
No matter the risk, no matter the obstacles, our warriors will charge into battle. They will plunge into the crucible of fire, and they will seize the crown of victory, because the United States of America will always have.
There's nothing going on over here.
The iron will.
I mean, they were great phones, War Machine. Like, you couldn't break them.
Congratulations to everybody. We love our country.
I'm not going to argue with you on that one.
Thank you. God bless.
Dummy thick, like we like our Latinas.
God bless America.
Seriously, Shelley.
And now I'd like to ask our great First Lady to join me at the podium. Thank you very much, everybody.
Oh, God, it's Melania.
Mr. President, on behalf of the United States Army, the Army Golden Knights, I would like to present to you this flag, which was flown over our nation's capital in free fall during the Army's 250th birthday celebration.
Whoa. We cut to a video of Lockheed Martin.
Okay, so you were just watching President Donald Trump address the country during his birthday parade, the Army's 250th birthday parade as well. He was just presented a flag from a soldier who parachuted onto the ellipse.
Yeah. And it looks like that celebration continues now. The president and the first lady are still at the lectern. And
oh, God, it's Lee Greenwood.
That's also taking place as well.
You know, we are rolling
all right.
the coverage.
Sparkles is in town. I'm going to go out to eat with her. I'm
But I
sorry to
wanted
leave you
ask
guys.
specifically, we heard the president say
On that note, but like I got to go out to eat with Sparkles. when I
troops,
got
but he
the
said the American
opportunity.
soldier will be
I'm sorry she picked the night that like all this shit was going on.
Bring me into some of the feeling when you heard him talking.
Yeah, I mean, it's a strong speech, good speech writer, but I tie it back into what Vice President Vance said. Our greatest obligation and way we can honor and respect you is by...
I'll send you over to James since a lot of you like watch him anyway.
When you need to, when it's absolutely essential based on national security needs. And number two, when we do that, we're going to give you everything that you need to be successful. And so it's okay to win, but it takes the right equipment to make that happen, highly trained and lethal force, and it seems they're committed to doing just that.
And there's considerable consideration being made.
Go ahead, light one up, dip one back.
World, even here at home. And with that, there's also a sacrifice not just from those troops, but also from their family members as well that are.
You guys were not on the Troll Patrol live.
One that